Hi everyone, good evening and welcome to today's section. So we apologies for a little delay. We have 3 minutes left already, gone already. This is a continuation of our section, the study series, which started yesterday. Yesterday was an amazing section, and if you were in the section, you would attest to that. That yesterday was an amazing section. We had people winning quizzes and all that. So today you could be one of the lucky winners if you stayed from the beginning to the end. I'm going to be a speaker for today's event. Once again, I was a speaker for yesterday. So today again, we're going to be talking around and be how to be proactive with AWS Config Proactive Compliance. So AWS Proactive Compliance is one of the newly added feature to the AWS Config resource on the AWS cloud. So if you have been working around AWS Config, try to use it to control and monitor on compliance to ensure that every all the infrastructure you provision on your AWS it complies with the rule that you set in place. That's when you need this AWS compliance. So why did they add AWS? Before we start, we go further. You will not understand AWS proactive compliance if you do not have the background knowledge of the AWS config itself. So the apologies, let me say this for the quiz. If we have the first runner up winner, we'll go with the AWS $50 worth of credits. Then second and third will go in with $25 worth of credits respectively. So we move down to the slide today. You can see that from what I've said so far, AWS compliance, proactive compliance is a feature that was added to the AWS config to extend the capabilities in order to enable you to monitor resources before they are provisioned. You don't need to check it after they have been provisioned. What if you have provisioned wrongly, maybe resources wrongly that are not in compliance with your organizational policy, and you need to run helter skelter trying to fix it at the post deployment stage. But with AWS proactive compliance, you are sure to constantly check for inadequacies before your resources actually provisioned into production. So what we have on the screen is you need to understand what AWS config is before we jump to proactive compliance. So AWS config is a fully managed service. It is fully managed by the AWS for you that provides you with resource inventory, enabling you to take inventory of the resources on your within your AWS cloud, and also configuration history. You can track configuration history, whatever maybe in your cloud formation stack. You have written your cloud formation stack to define maybe to deploy maybe your CI/CD pipeline. The AWS config can help you to check compliance, check for compliance, check the history, and also it can also monitor and give you notification about the configuration change, the changes that are added to your configuration file after you have written them, after you have defined them, to ensure that appropriate security and governance is in place. So now, how does it work? Looking at the diagram we have on the screen, it's at the front door of your deployment. When you are deploying resources, AWS config stand at the front door. What does it do? It records and normalize changes into a consistent format. Then after that, it starts to manage. When you manage, it's try to discover resources and record configurations and understand relationships and capture changes that are happening within your configuration file. Then after that, it helps to evaluate them and simplify everything for you. So that makes it very perfect for you to meet up with with compliance that are being put in place by your organization. So now we get to move down to use cases. How do you use them? Now it's not about you can see that AWS config targets where there is non-compliance of resources. You could see that maybe If you are to maybe define something into, let me bring out the scenario that you can make where you can need to use, you may need to, in fact, you need to use AWS Config. If you want to monitor every infrastructure that is launched in your company AWS account, and to ensure that maybe monitor them for deviation, and to ensure that they are in compliance with the rules you have specified in the AWS config. It's specifically mostly related to EC2 instances, maybe that are launched from a specified Amazon Machine images. I need to monitor that these images that you use in launching your EC2 instances are in compliance with what the organization has set, with the standard the organization has set in place. And also, it also ensures that all the EBS instances that are attached to your EC2 instance are encrypted to ensure maximum security. And you can use maybe AWS config to ensure that non-compliance infrastructure are terminated without having to negotiate the security situation. This will help you to stay in line with what the organization has put in place. So we look at the diagram and what we have, it helps you to streamline operational troubleshooting and change management. Maybe when you have deploy a resources and maybe that resources is not in compliance with what you think should be, you can quickly use AWS config to terminate it to make sure that a proper resources is launched. Then you can use it to deploy compliance as code framework working with your cloud formation stack. You can easily integrate AWS config to help you monitor your stack. And also continue, you can help offer continue it in terms of audit, security auditing, give you monitoring and analysis that you need to ensure that everything works perfectly. So now we look at the diagram, you can see that we have account, with auditing account, it helps you to audit account, and help you to monitor custom solution that you have defined and report and give the report to security hub. This is the central security center that you or that all your security reports, a centralized dashboard for all your security report on the AWS Cloud Security Hub. Then that is really defined AWS config configuration is usually AWS configuration, but abbreviated as config. So it helps you to monitor, audit, and ensure compliance with all the resources launched into your AWS cloud. So we move down to the main guide that made us to even set up this section. So AWS config proactive compliance is a specific feature that was added to extend the capability of the AWS config. It was announced during the 2022 reInvent program at the AWS to go public. Initially, it was under preview, but it was announced to go public during the reInvent 2022, and you can now acquire new capability or being proactive before you provision your resources into AWS, into the cloud. It said to why do we have to integrate this? It is because AWS config proactive compliance will help you to proactively check for compliance with AWS config rules prior to before you even launch your or provision your resources. So it also run rules at any time before provisioning, saving time spent remediating non-compliant resources after you have deployed them or after you have provisioned them. So it helps you to also incorporate AWS config rules into infrastructure as code, CI/CD pipeline to identify non-compliant resources before provisioning. You can also use it to use the AWS console or APIs to enable rules to run proactively. So when you are in on the AWS cloud, you can see from the diagram, we have AWS config right here. We have the rules here. So key policies are being defined, and rule scenarios are anyone that complies to max compliance, but non-compliant will be quickly terminated immediately. So on the AWS cloud, from AWS Config dashboard, you can click on Add Rules and then select the Manage Rule by the AWS, and from there you select the Proactive Compliance if you during implementation stage. So from the diagram we have here, we have a very unique diagram on how config work. So you can see that configuration change occurs in your AWS resources. So what does it do? AWS config helps to record and normalize changes. It's similar to the previous diagram I have explained. And the good thing is that it works automatically. And also, do not forget you can actually integrate the AWS config with AWS Lambda function to have the best in place security. So you can actually integrate that to trigger maybe something that is not working fine. You can also schedule a CloudWatch event that helps terminate non-compliance as well. And they work hand in hand with AWS config to carry that function, perform that function. So now, how do you use AWS proactive feature? So, like I said before, when you go to your AWS config dashboard, you can easily enable it there. So let's play a little to the AWS console, enemy console, and see how that works. So while we bring up the AWS management console through my browser, so we have the console right there. I've already added my config among my recently visited resources. So what I'm going to just do is to click it, or if you cannot find it here, just search for config here. Come out. This is it. So just click it. So it will load up and open up for you. So apologies for the network is not delayed. So while that's coming up, okay, we are here now. So this is the AWS config dashboard that we have. So you can click on get started. We are just starting it for the first time. Now, what did they say? They say record all current and future resources supported in this region. My region is North Virginia. So record specific resource types, create AWS config link role, choose from a role account. Now we have a lot. You can create it with choose a bucket from your account. Delivery method. How do you want to deliver this role? Choose a bucket from another account. If you have a bucket and another account you want to use, I already have one bucket here. That I can add the prefix and make it work. But now I'm going to let me go to this and see. You want to monitor all resource categories. Guys, record specific resource types. Then AWS resources only. Select the resources that you want to monitor. Like I said, you can monitor nearly all the resources that are available on the AWS cloud. AWS has more than 200, over 200 resources. So AWS config is built to be in tune with that. Now we can say, okay, get to record all current and future resources supported in this region. Now include global resources like the IAM, someone that will manage it, or a user or roles and groups there. You can include that. Create a config link room. So I will say, okay, let me use S3 buckets. I can just prefix is optional. Now you can use SNS, simple notification service, to stream the configuration changes in order to get notified when there is any changes with your resource or the one that is not compliant with your complying with your own rule that you stated. Now rules is what do you want to assert? Is it a application load balancer a web application firewall enabled, or which one do you want to? It depends on your use cases, so you can select anyone that you wish. So now I want to account part of the organization. That is blue checks whether AWS account is part of AWS organization. So can help you check if it's not part of it. The rule is non-compliant if the AWS account is not part of yes, it will terminate it to ensure it will mark it as non-compliant. So now, let's say we want to work with, so let's pick this one. We want to go with some account that are part of this organization. So move down to the next step. Now the S3 buckets that I wanted to deliver to is already here. Now config rule is account part of this information. So you can now provision that. You can provision S3 buckets and all that. So we are going to see now you can view the dashboard. Rules have been created. So it's that simple to implement. It's even not, it does not take time and all that. So we have the rules here. It's populating the dashboard for us. So if you have any question, please let's wrote CCP in this general but didn't come across a question on proactive compliance. Yes, it's a new feature that is just being announced by the AWS. Is in here generally available. Is in general availability available. It's not. It was announced last year, late last year. That was around December. So okay, any question that you have, feel free to drop it on the chat section. The moderator will bring it up to my attention. So we have our dashboard here right away. Now let's check the rules and see what happens. So okay, we have 10 rules per page, references, and all that. So now we have created one rule that will terminate any account that is not part of this AWS account. So we can as well add another one. Let's go back to conformance, conformance fact check. You can deploy conformance. You can as well deploy authorization. Let's see. Now, what it will filter, let's look at the filter. It will filter compliance type, AWS will join an account ID. So this is how the filter can help you to work. So let's say if you have defined, let's check the rule. The rules we have here is account part of organizations. The mediation period is not set yet. Now, AWS, the type is AWS managed, as I said, is one of the managed services. Now, detective, enable evaluation mode is to detect. So if you want to add another rule, it's very easy to add. AWS managed rule. Now, you come to, you scroll down and add and check the one you want to add. Now you can go to, let's check for RDS in place. No. Okay, you can also check for, you can add rules to rotate keys. Check whether the active access key are rotated within the number of days specified in mark access key H policy. This is a policy that you can use to manage key rotation on your account. So you can as well define a compliance rules to check if it's actually monitored. But let's check the another rule we can add by going to page 2. I'm looking for RDS instance. I want to really show something there. Now you can see can also enable rule that can control your EC2 and elastic load balancer. This rule will check whether HTTP or to HTTPS redirection is configured on all HTTP listeners of application load balancer. So it will also check that. Let's go back to the next page. You can see we have AppZing. We also have approved AMIs by tag. If you want to check whether every AMI, that is an Amazon machine image that you are using, has tag, specific tag, tag maybe to enable you to trace for compliance and all that, or for non-compliance. So there are a lot of tools, that a lot of rules. Let me see. I think the rules is many is for now. I do not have the rough figures of how many rules you can get, but I know AWS Config can be used to monitor and ensure compliance on all AWS resources. So let's pick like key rotation, access key rotation, rotated, period. Now, what does it do? We have access keys rotated. These are the details. How many hours do you want it to be, the frequency of the time you want it to constantly check if these resources actually complies. 24 hours is fine because you don't need to be stopping. You can add rules tags. You can add tags to enable you to track the compliance report by tag. Now, if you have questions, please go ahead and ask. But tag, I think is optional. You don't need to. It's not compulsory by add tag. So maximum number of the key, that is max access key H is 90. Default is 90. You can increase it if you wish to. Then add the rules. We have added about 2 rules. We have one to ensure key rotation, and the other one to ensure that non-account that are not part of a particular AWS account is removed and terminated. So now, for us to go back to our slide that we have explained so far in terms of what AWS config can do for you and the non-compliance, that is proactive compliance can do for you, is to ensure that you set rules that ensure that resources are checked before they are provisioned. You cannot, if resources are not provisioned, are not checked yet, it will not work well because when you post them to maybe to production environment, it becomes very difficult for you to begin to check at that stage. So customers with the AWS compliance, proactive compliance, customers can now track changes made to their cloud resources and check if the resources match their desired configuration through a feature known as rules. And proactive compliance allows customers to evaluate. It allows to actually also evaluate the configuration of your cloud resources before they are updated or created. So that is what it can do for you. And we have covered up everything that we have for today's section. So we jump right away to taking our quiz for the day. We do not have really much to. If you have any question, reach out to us, and also ensure that you are able to also practice read more about AWS config to ensure that you get your hands on it. So now we have in our quiz today, We are going to have about 5 questions. I see that people are leaving. I think it's only 4 people are available. Well, we are going to have 3 winners among the contestants. So now we are going to I'm going to bring up the moderator to coordinate the quiz section. Welcome, Mr. Radcliffe.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone, and pleased to see you. So, okay, so the questions. So, Imo, how do we do this? I send the link or I send a question?
Hold on, I'm going to bring up the first. I'll bring up the
Okay, good.
screen for the
Okay,
debate.
awesome, awesome,
It
awesome.
seems someone have asked a question in the chat post section. Check if there's any question there.
Okay, there is one question for you. I think that you have answered it already. Someone said they wrote the cloud practitioner in January, but did not come across any question on compliance.
Okay, no, the thing is that AWS proactive compliance is a new feature that was just announced. It was just announced, so I don't think it's yet to be available for us in exam question in test question. So we have there's another question that is it cost free? Yes, it's free. You have no additional charges for AWS proactive compliance. There's no additional cost as long as you are using AWS Config, so there's no charges for it. So now we are in our game screen now. So let's go to team mode. I think team mode is the one that we have up to. Okay, so get set to what? Hold on, let's go back. Okay, so we are ready for the this thing. The game pin is loading, and the game pin is 208. Let me put the game pin 208. This thing, so you can join in on time so that you will be able to round up on time. 208-2545 is the game pin. We have limitless on join the game. Join in quickly, guys, so we can move on. Wow, we have how many people said game pin is on the screen. We are waiting, we are waiting, we are waiting. Join in so we can start it. Farsia, limitless, and Farsia. Are you facing any difficulty to join? Any challenges? We will soon start. Well, once we have up to 4 people, we will start because we need 3 people to be the winner. Do we have other people joining? Elise are joined. Okay.
Imo,
So
would you mind mentioning how to join again in case?
no, just go to play.kahoot.it, enter the game pin, and you are good to go. I just put the site. So, or kahoot.it is alone is fine for you since you are just playing. Kahoot.it, kahoot.it. Okay, so we have three people. Let's say we need more people to join. More people should join. Game pin is on the screen. Game pin is on the screen. Can you join up, guys? Enter the pin, go to kahoot.it, enter the pin, and you are good to go.
Awesome, awesome.
Okay, so wow, we have to. If you guys do not want to win the AWS credit voucher, okay, so we will play with the people available. Give other people might join other session. So we start. The first question come in. So the quiz is on this. So it's loading. So what is this is a typographical error. What is AWS Config? The time is running. So let's see who will be the winner. No answer is coming. Only one answer is coming. Only one answer. Two answers. We are three. Just the third person should pick it to the road to meet up. Okay. So browsing compliance. Let's see who is topping. Wow. So only Calcia is topping. So next we go in question two. AWS config use case is what are the AWS config use cases? No answer yet. No answer yet. One answer in. So one is it helps to continually audit security monitoring analysis. That is option A. Option B is all of the above. Option C is deploy a compliance as code framework. D is streamline operational troubleshooting. So what will you think is the use cases for are the use cases? Okay, we have just two people talking. Wow, House AI is still topping. Okay, so at least you can do better by beating House AI. Let's go next. The third question is AWS proactive AWS config compliance feature dash helps you to do what? The proactively check for compliance with AWS config rules, proactively monitor AWS resources, proactively monitor AWS Lambda function, proactively inspect non-compliant VPCs. One answer, two answers. Is that we only have only two people participating? Okay, proactively, yes. So Faucia is still talking. Limitless has come up. Elise is going. Elise is going okay. Let's see the fourth question. To implement AWS proactive compliance, what do you need to do first? Start by doing what? What do you do? What What do you do? What do you do? Okay, so let's see the top. Marcia is to the top, over 3,000 points. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, the last but not the least question. Now, proactive compliance is a feature added to AWS in Dash 2020, 2023, 2022, and 2021. Which one do you think is the answer? One question in, two questions, two answers. Okay, three answers in. So this is the final answer, the last answer. Limitless is the third position. L is the second. Wow, so the winner is Fausia. Kudos to you. Congratulations for being the quiz winner for today. We appreciate your time and for paying rapt attention to all what that was mentioned in the section. Okay, so now what you need to do as a quiz winner is to send an email to AWS Cloud Security West Africa. So we are choosing three winners. Of course, we have three winners today. So send your name accordingly, the way you win the first runner up, second and third. Send your full names and emails, possibly phone number, so we can reach you if there's any error. So AWS Cloud Security Sec West Africa at gmail.com. Take note of the Gmail of the email. Let me copy it and post on the group chat so you can have access to it. You need to get your email today quickly as possible so you can give it the result. Okay. Guys, thank you very much for your time. We have come to the end of the section for today. We are going to be having this section, um, this section weekly. Join on next week, Monday and Tuesday, for another exciting section. We're going to be focusing more on deeper AWS topics to help you stay inclined with the AWS services and how to actually implement these resources on the AWS cloud. So join us and follow us on our social media channel. We are available on LinkedIn, we are on Twitter, and we are also on Meetup. We are also on Medium. Follow our blog on Medium. So and follow us also. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. This recording is going to be left on our channel for you to be watched and visit it for your reference purposes. Thank you very much. Ralph, bye. Thank you very much, guys. Have a lovely evening. Bye.